welcome. I appreciate you guys being here for the 7% class. Right now, right off the bat, I want to shoot straight down the line here. I want to put a video on from Tom Ferry that for those of you that have been taking the 7% class every month, this pretty much cements everything that we are talking about. So we are not crazy here at RE/MAX Gold. We mean what we say because we also do the research. But I want to show you this, guy. We're going to share this screen. Is this sharing?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to share this with you, and it's only 10 minutes, guys. But I want to show you guys why and the reason for our madness. Here it is.
For over 20 years, I've dedicated my life to bringing you the very best selling, marketing, and business building strategies to keep your business thriving. Get ready to experience the success you've been searching for. Well,
Don't do this to me, Tom Ferry and Internet.
To the Tom Ferry Show. Welcome to the Tom Ferry Show, episode 36. Today, we're talking about waking sellers up from the coma that they're currently operating in, and I'm going to show you.
Oh, don't do this.
What you can do about it. Now, you see that big number, 7%? Several weeks ago at our Success Summit, I said to the group, I believe that consumers and many agents are actually in a coma, plus the discount brokers. Matter of fact, let's just look at what I wrote down. The problem is too many agents, the lazy ones, some discount models and companies have absolutely put sellers into what I call the commission coma, where the expectation now is 4 to 5.5% commission for their listing service.
No, it's all the way up.
Lunch, my friends. The challenge with this, like I mentioned a few weeks ago on the 7 trends, the commission compression is going to continue. The market's getting better, and discount brokers are coming into the market, and lazy agents are using discount commissions as a degree of separation, a way to earn the business. And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. Well, let's just take a look at it. Let's get right into it. You ready? Here's the challenge. How do we wake ourselves and the consumers up from the coma? That's the question. How do you wake yourself up first? How do you say, hello, my name is Tom, and my value is 7%. Hello, my name is Tom, and my value is 6%. 7 could just be the metaphorical example of more than what you're currently charging or more than the average in the market. And I don't care if you're in the high end, the low end, it doesn't make a difference to me, right? Your income is in direct correlation to the service that you provide and how you value it. If you don't value your percentage, then no one else will. So the challenge is, how do we wake ourselves and the consumers up from the commission coma, or did you just accept the inevitable? You just accept the inevitable and say, hi, my name is Tom, and well, the market is going to dictate my real value, and I have nothing to do with it. There's nothing that I can do about it. I'm just going to be wishy-washy and allow my commissions to drop, which means I'm going to do more work and I'm going to make less money for it, and I'm going to be complaining all the time. If that's your model, then God bless you, go for it. But I don't think you're watching the Tom Ferry Show to go there. I think you're really thinking about this one. So let's talk about some of the solutions. I wrote down 4 things to begin in the process, right? To start the journey. So here's number 1 under solutions. It's time for you to do a competition analysis. For you to say, there's some discount companies that is their model, that's their degree of separation. And then there's just some agents, or there's the agent base that in general will discount their commissions to win the business. Now, you have to ask yourself, what do they do? Like analytically, have you seen their listing presentation? Have you seen their marketing plan? Have you looked online on their website and read everything you could to really analyze what they are articulating in terms of their value proposition to the consumers in your market? So I want to know what it is that they do, not your hallucination. I want it in writing and print. It should be all over your office. You should be looking for the connections. Wow, they all seem to do this. They all seem to do that. This is how they language it. So I got to be mindful of how the consumers are now using the language of these discount companies as an example, rebates, etc. Then I want to look at what are their results. And this is where you got to spend some time and go tactical into the MLS and pull up, say, the last 100 transactions from these companies and look for the holes, right? For example, list price to sales price. Look for a percentage of transactions that perhaps fell out of escrow or fell apart. What we're looking for is, there's this promise that they're making, but if I can articulate the holes, the gaps, the problems with selecting that solution beyond just my dialogue. Like, it's always fun to say when another agent said they do it for less. And, we can joke and say, well, when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, right? That's all fantastic and fun. At the end of the day, as a real true professional, you have to know analytically what are the degrees of separation that they're providing. And then begin number two, to identify the gap, the problem that they actually create, and then articulate your degrees of separation. Your degrees of separation, DOS, which you maybe have heard me talk about in the past, especially if you've been to one of our events, Sales Edge, or you watched Breakthrough by Design, where we talk about the law of contrast, where we really ask you in your presentation to say, here's what the average agent does, and here's what we do, right? Big shout out to Ken Pozak, right? Remember years ago, right? So we looked and said, the average agent does 11 things to market a home. Can you picture in a presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the average agent does 11 things to market a home. They do photography, they put it inside the MLS, they do a broker preview, and blah, 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 that list. Well, the average agent does 11. Ken has 89 different things he does to market the home. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when making a decision to hire an agent who's best going to market your home to the widest number of agents and buyers, are you looking for 89 different marketing points or just 11? That law of contrast wakes the consumer up out of the commission coma and has them scratching their head. You're charging metaphorically 7, 8, 43%, right? A different number than everybody else. Why is he charging more? Why is she charging more? What does she do differently? You've got to be able to articulate that. So the other part I wrote down is you should build the case. Why is it better to work with you versus the discounters, right? So whether it's full service, marketing teams, yada, yada, we use a lot of those buzzwords, but I think it's important to put it into consumer speak. So it's going to be more articulate, it's going to be more powerful, you're going to have way more swag, way more confidence walking in and presenting to these customers your true value beyond just some of those buzzwords we're all accustomed to, full service marketing, etc. You can really point out the clear distinct differences between you and that discount broker, again, giving you a better shot to increase your value and earn the money you deserve. The last one, number 4, and this is really why I was challenging everybody at the summit, is that it forces you to step up your game, to innovate, to improve, to create more value, and to learn how to sell your services with authority. Too many people in this industry, I don't want to misquote this, I think Stefan Swanpool, big shout out to Stefan, in like 2007 shared with me this NAR quote. And I'm for the record, warning, it was an old quote, but essentially it said something like this, that a high percentage, 85, whatever the number was, 86.2%, who cares? That this huge percentage of agents were coming into the real estate space with no sales, no marketing, and no negotiation skills whatsoever, right? So this giant wave, and NAR said they're coming into the industry with no sales, no marketing, no negotiation skills whatsoever. And I remember when Stefan shared this with me, big shout out to Stefan Swanpool, great guy, follow him at Swanpool, amazing dude. He shared this with me and I said, Stefan, they forgot the main part of the quote. He said, what do you mean? I said, the main part is, 80 whatever percent came in the industry with no sales, no marketing, no negotiation skills. And And I said, and the part they missed was, and most maintained it. And most maintained it. NAR does say that 87% of all agents fail after 5 years. And I believe that number will remain the same because agents aren't willing to do the work to articulate their value, to learn to sell themselves and to sell their services and to believe confidently in their negotiation ability, starting with their fees. Now, if you go to tomferry.com, you can download a bunch of scripts. You know, the reverse pyramid close. Go on YouTube, watch a bunch of our videos. We've got live listing presentations.
Can we back out here?
Go to the bottom. Sorry, go to the top with the stop share. In the red? Up there, there you go.
Okay, guys, I know the sound wasn't as best, but we're gonna send you guys the link via email to the people that are participating right now. Kristen will have it. But in essence, what is Tom Ferry saying, guys? What did you guys get out of that? I really want to hear you guys. Don't be scared. I'm gonna point fingers.
He's telling us to step up our game. Get our act.
Value your work, value your brand, value you. In essence, that's what they're saying. Value, value, value. Separate yourself from those discounters. How many of you guys got that point where he compared anybody who did less than what you're asking for a discounter? Did you guys get that? I'm going to repeat that. How many of you guys literally got the fact that he called everybody else out there less than 7% a discounter? What about the sourcing or the information saying that back in 07, which remember, that was right before the crisis. Imagine right now the amount of new agents that are coming on board and they're only simply getting taught how to stay competitive in the market by working with their commission structure versus their knowledge and experience as a real estate professional. Guys, we talk about this every month, and I hope that maybe Tom Ferry's perspective would give you guys a little more insight on how important it is to brand yourself and value your worth. Perfect example. Show of hands. I can't see Liz or Vanessa, but the rest of you, show of hands, right? Who right now is, and I'm going to say it again, who right now is ready for second quarter? Who is really, truly ready? Liz, beautiful, thumbs up. Who is ready? Who has their punch list? Who has their marketing campaign ready to go to show consumers what they're worth and why they're asking for 7%, while other discounters, right, outside of your firm are basing their listing abilities to compare and compete with commission, I call it commission destruction, really. I look at the real estate experience on this call, and I look at 16 plus years, 20 plus years, so on and so forth, 5 years, 2 years. The importance here that you guys all have in common is, in reality, you guys have to be aware of what your value is. And if you guys aren't confident with your value and how to conduct and present your value to your consumer, then we really need to sit down, have a one-on-one, outline exactly, right, exactly what your marketing campaign is and how you brand yourself and how you present yourself in a listing campaign. And I'm willing to do that. If you guys need that one-on-one, let's do it now, sooner than later. When does second quarter begin? And technically, when's the industry standard of when we get busy? When's it begin? Next month? Now? What? Now, right? We're in it. We're in it. And guess what? The market has been putting us in positions where we are in a very competitive state because of the value or the listing count, I should say. But the key word here for the 7%, right, is knowing what your value is worth and understanding how to explain your value to that potential client and give you a variation of what those discounters do. I love it. I want to make me a shirt that says we are not discounters. I already have one that says compartmentalize because I can't ever say the word. I just said it right. And I had another one that says 7% listings. Right now, I'm going to get one that says we are not a discounter. We value our work. We are quality, honestly, quality educated professionals in our industry. And if you don't see yourself as such, please allow me to help you get to the point of that confidence that when you go out there, you have the confidence of a doctor. Yes, Liz.
I love that because I actually was having this conversation with a colleague of mine in the business at a different brokerage yesterday, and he said to me, would you say to your dentist, are you going to give me, a discount for just being my dentist? No, you're a professional and you're not going to discount. Do you want 90% of my best or do you want 100% of my best? And so I think that that's so, so true to really see yourself as a professional.
Completely agree with you, Liz. 100%. We can even dive into that even deeper, right? When you go to a doctor and they say, hey, you're going to need surgery, guess what you normally would do, right? You would get a second opinion, right? Because you want to get the most accurate, best opinion or synopsis of this so-called surgery. And then you're going to select the best person to perform such surgery, correct? Do you guys nickel and dime that? Why? It's your health. It's you. You're like, man, I don't want somebody that just came out of medical school, a doctor school, to open me up and then say, yeah, I'll figure it out when I get there. But I'm going to give you a good deal on it. Or I slept at a Holiday Inn once, right? Or Holiday Inn Express. You don't want that. You want the best of the best. So tell me, if you had to put your hands or your home in someone's hands that's going to give you either the professional way, the quality service, the experience, the educated approach to negotiation to get your deal to the table, not just get them signed up, but get them the transaction physically through the pipeline and the process from point A to point Z in a seamless transaction, right? Would it be worth your money? Or I know that my house is going to sell quick because we're in the market and anybody can sell my house. Yeah, I'm sure they can, but can they negotiate? Can they get you and find you the best offer? Can they put you in a position that when you're looking at 30-something contracts, right? Okay, are they going to look and identify which was the best case scenario for you? And on top of that, negotiate inspections, the brand awareness, solidifying the post closing where the real hard work begins, and staying up to date with your market in your neighborhood. Are they going to get the appraisal reviews after a couple of years to let said sellers know or said buyers know what those values are going for, right? Because what's the objective? Those sellers who sell that house, they use you to go buy another one. That's the plan. Correct. Why do we embed this here at Gold? Why do we embed that you guys are worth every single penny that you put your time into in a transaction? Why? Anybody? Deer in headlights, so I can. You guys
To build our
listen?
confidence.
Should I dance? Huh?
To build our confidence so that we know we can get out there and do it.
True. But what else? Is to separate you from the average and you guys being the best in the business. Remember that. We are doing everything possible as an agency to make you guys really see what we see in you guys, right? And making sure that you guys understand that you guys are the best in the business, because that's what we want to make sure we have in our organization, the best. So if you're in these doors, you're the best. Now, I want you to build that confidence as we have confidence in you. I want to build it within yourselves. Time is money. You guys spend years or months, days, doesn't matter. You spent time learning this business. You spent time understanding negotiations. You spent times knowing and understanding the language of those transactions, those contracts. You spent time learning by hardship and going through the process of being unfortunate, the bad end of the stick, or seeing the bad end of the stick of this industry. But guess what? Those are just lumps on, bumps on the road that you learn from. So now what do? Well, guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? I've been in this industry for X amount of time. I've been in for a year, but guess what? I'm involved in an organization that has collectively an experience level of over 60 years in the real estate industry. Allow me to explain to you how we work internally to make sure that you're going to get max price, max service, and then be able to leave here with a stress-free mind, understanding that we're going to protect your best interest and have your best interest in mind, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Yes, I am relatively new in the industry, but I selected this organization because of their experience. For all you newer agents, that's perfect language to get you in the door. Be confident of your people and your peers around you. People that have been in the business long enough, you guys already know the explanation, right? You've been in the industry long enough. You understand the negotiations. You understand what goes in and comes out of that market or that demographic. Now, me personally, obviously we always look for deals. That's our nature. That's our nature. But you know what has changed our mindset going into this new wave? It's a one-stop shop environment. A click of a button. Who here uses Amazon? I do. That's my biggest problem. It's easy. I just click. Oh, great. Shows up at my house the next day. Sometimes I don't even know what I ordered, but it's like a Christmas every day sometimes for me. I don't even know what it is. I open it up. But guess what? Why? Amazon has made it a seamless transactions to us for the consumers to be able to acquire and purchase whatever they want by a click of a button.
They have really messed up the instantaneous feature though for a lot of us because everything is not instantaneous or overnight. But yes, it is a very, very well-oiled machine.
Absolutely. And that's a great point too, Liz, right? To that effect, prior to, let me ask you guys another theory, right? Or what I think. Prior to, sorry, Carol Camarada's in the house. Just want to let you know she'd be jumping on. Prior to Amazon, prior to, what's the other one? Not Amazon. What am I thinking of? Where you used to bid. eBay. Yeah. Prior to all that, right? We all thought that was crazy. How the heck am I going to buy something online? Right? I was one of them. You know, when I started hearing all that crap about, oh, yeah, you can just buy it online. Yeah, right. I need to go touch it. I need to go feel it. Right? Well, guess what, guys? Do we want our industry to be a one-touch scenario? That's a trick question. Don't be scared. There's no right or wrong. Brett, I'll pick on you. Do we want a one-stop shop environment?
Well, it depends on that. You want to be the person that can take care of all their needs.
Boom! You guys got that? Did you guys hear what Brett said? Should I have him repeat it? Say it again, Brett.
You want to be the person that takes care of all their needs.
Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense why we say know your value? Because we are trying to literally entrench you guys in that philosophy of you want to be a one-stop shop, but you want to be the organic one-stop shop. You don't want to be the computer one-stop shop where everything's a one-stop button for everybody, for the consumer. You want to be that computer for your client.
And Jose, I think there's something that Tom Ferry brought up, and it was the fourth piece was he said you got to continue to innovate, you got to continue to evolve. One thing I always think about is you think about who was in the olden days the Amazon world. It was the Sears Roebuck catalog that showed up, right? Yeah. And I remember being at my grandparents' house, so the Sears Roebuck, this catalog shows up, and you could just page through, and you could look and see what you want. Why did Sears catalog not become Home Shopping Network, become Amazon? Because that's really what they own. They own the world, right?
Absolutely.
At that time, they just didn't see that it was necessary. They didn't need to evolve. So what happened to Sears? It went that way. It created space for everybody else. So we are in a world right now where things, as we talked yesterday at all agents call. We're talking about social media, we're talking about video, we're talking about things that we do. And one of the things that he brings up, Tom Ferry brings up, is you got to contrast what you bring to the table as opposed to what somebody might not be willing to bring to the table because they don't think you need it. They're making the decision and you don't need it. So that's one of the things I think when we're talking about contrasting and making things our value is what are we doing that we can say that we're doing that helps them more? That's what we're in the business for. How do we help them more? And if we can do that, then our value's set.
Absolutely. 100 agree. Who agrees with Brent? Show of hands. Thank you. Question for you guys, right? I like standing up. I can't sit down so long. You guys know me already. Listen.
Only thing about Jose standing up is I feel like he's going to get in a boxing match.
that was the old days. I don't do that anymore. Listen, how well do you guys know your competition? And Tom Ferry said it right now. He called it the DOS, right? The degrees of separation, DOS, DOS, right? How well do you guys know your competition? How well do you know your competition that you can confidently explain what they do versus what you have, right? And what you have to offer. You notice in Tom Ferry's 10-minute spiel, he basically called everybody discounters. I can't emphasize that enough. Discounters, 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 right? But he also said, hey, know your competition. Do some research, do some analytical understanding or analytical information or research on your competition. Why do you think you should know your competition when you're going in there presenting with the client, a prospective client? Don't be shy, guys. Let me hear you. I'm going to point at fingers or point at people, not fingers. Go ahead, Kay.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so you can say what they're doing too. Also, I mean, you know what they're doing. You can make sure that you up them one or something, you know. Try to.
Thank you, Diana. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to throw out the comparisons, like if not necessarily pointing out someone in particular, but saying, I know other agents might do blah, 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 but, this is something that I can do to, to promote your home, better, to get more people in, to, whatever we can do. And the other day I was on a listing appointment, and thanks to Amanda and Kristen, they helped me a lot to get some information together ahead of time. But I knew I was going up against people that did a lot more in that area than I do, and have a lot higher numbers than I do. But what we did is, they helped and pulled together numbers from not my recent sales necessarily, but, from a long period of time, so that those numbers are popping up there to say, I mean, I may not be doing as many of as these people, but I'm not sitting on my hands either, and I am getting things done and I am selling things. And, whether it's, the same stats as the people that, they were interviewing as well. But, and that was a great way for me to segue into, the part about, I know there's other people that may be doing, a little bit more in this area, but I'm still very well versed in the area. I know what I'm doing. I'm able to help people buy and sell throughout this industry, and I have for quite a while. So that way, I could pump myself up, without necessarily, saying, I know they're so much better than me, but, because they're not. I knew I could go in there and, and then I started going into everything else that I could do. It's not all about numbers. It's about how else I can take care of them.
Absolutely. Kay, that's awesome. Thank you for that information.
Yeah,
ahead,
and
Liz.
speaking on what Kay said, I think it's so true. Like, I'm going to be honest. I have it's funny, about 2 weeks ago, I emailed Kristen and Amanda and said, I need you guys to give me like a little bio. And I actually have in both my buyer's consultation and my listing presentation, both of their little headshots and just a little bit about them. And I refer to everybody in our office, not just the two of them, but everybody as my team, because
Love it.
I think it's important for people to know that while I may be a quote unquote solo agent, I have a team of agents and expertise behind me that allow me to leverage, all of that knowledge and all of that help and all of those hands on deck for either a seller or buyer. And a lot of people appreciate that. I also admit when every transaction is different. I don't always know the answer, but you can guarantee I will find out. And I think that adds a level of like, you're human, that part of this process is learning as you go, because every transaction is different, but promising to be responsive and communicative when that happens to get the answers that your buyers and sellers seek make a huge difference.
Liz, that is absolutely an amazing response. I love the fact that you're engaging and using the support of your office to actually embed that into your marketing campaigns. That makes total sense. Guys, and I respect that, and I look at that as an overall, everyone should do that, right? It doesn't matter. This is your staff. This is your office. Make it so. Make it so. Because when you're in front explaining the differences between you and the discounters, right? You have black and white information showing how your transaction is going to be run and conducted. The other factor that you need to take in consideration here, guys, is this, right? Most agencies, right? And I can attest to, because of the experience, and I want to just add this little caveat to what we just talked about, of why you need to do the research and the analytical information research rather for your competition. Do you guys know that most companies succeed, or get even better because what do? They research their competition and they do it at 10% better. Just 10% better. Think about it. Okay, you research those firms, you research those constant agencies that you're always constantly seeing and meeting in the middle when you're going out to meet with these potential listing clients, and you research them and you understand exactly what they do. Guess what? You're already going to know how to go into that to that competitive listing appointment, right? And present yourself. Do you guys do that now? And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say yes. It's also better to say, I'm going to start to, right? Because the more you know, right? It's like reading Rainbow. The more you know, the better you're going to be in your market. To Liz's approach, guess what? She's been in the industry a few years, but guess what? She's adding her team. She's building her team, her staff component. She's got that. Same for you guys. Kay's been in the industry. Larry's been in the industry for a while. Lynn, Diana, you guys know that you guys have the experience behind you. So now let's optimize it. Let's put it in overload, right? Tom was saying that earlier in that 10-minute presentation, that there was a guy that actually not only had 11, most agents traditionally have 11 steps that they present in a listing presentation. This guy had 89. Maybe a little too much, right? I could say, like, hey, that's a lot of talking about yourself in that sense. But the reality, right? The reality is he definitely separates himself from the competition, correct? And what are we trying to do? Separate ourselves. Do you have that separational piece in your marketing campaign now? Do you guys know what other people are doing, right? Going back to that same question, that what other people are doing that you can have in your marketing campaign to separate you from them. And I miss Carol. Carol has great experience too. I apologize, Carol. I forgot that you're down there. But Carol's a savvy real estate person in our group. Anybody want to bring anything to the table on that? Do you guys have that? Do you guys have something that you can email to your client the day before your listing presentation to explain to you a little bit about, your bio, who you are, what you do, most frequently asked questions? I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff in the air, right? You have to stand out. Remember in the past, we talked about, hey, listen, don't go in there just throwing them a price and see if you can win them on price, right? We always said, hey, don't do that. Go back. Once you review the property, tell them, look, most efficient way to get the exact pricing we need to sell your home is I'm going to look at your home, go through it, then go back to the drawing board and figure out a value. Doesn't that separate you a little bit from the average agent, right? And then just tell them, please do not make any decisions until I at least come back and you can hear my presentation on your offering on your home.
Hi, I have something to say.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Vanessa. So the top rookie agent at my old company, he suggested that what he did was he would do his listing presentation. Instead of bringing it the day that they had it scheduled, he would drop it off on their porch the night before, send them a quick text, and just have them look over it. And weird, he always said too that he brought him plants, and plants, I don't know, I guess that's a thing to do.
Hey, listen, again, Vanessa, but what does that do? It's top of mind, right? There's no wrong, that's nothing wrong with that scenario or that concept. Actually, just fine, right? You know, a good way to do is again, having your information prepared, having everything ahead of time, knowing how you're going to present. And guess what? If you feel confident with your abilities, send it the night before. Send it a day before. Give them enough time to research you, who you are. How about your reviews? How about when you send it via email, you put some links to your Instagram showing your reviews? You guys have to think outside of the box, just like Vanessa's top agent over there at their, or rookie agent over there at their previous location or previous office. Creativity right now and self-brand is the main focus for 2021 as a whole, guys.
Vanessa, did you say that he dropped off a plant also?
He would take a plant, correct?
Yeah, he said that out of all of his listings, he lost one, and it's because he didn't bring a plant to that one. That's what he swears by.
I love negotiation talk, but Vanessa, the great thing about doing something like that, what does that do in the client's mind, the person you're listing with?
Every time they look at it, they think of you. It's a smart move.
And what it makes them in some form or fashion before they ever meet with you, somewhat obligated. They move closer to you with you not even being in the house yet.
So Liz had the, sorry, Vanessa, go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, since I'm a rookie and I have a lot of free time, I have a lot of jobs, but the other thing I do is I like to look at expired listings, and I scroll through it and I look at who the expired listing was and look for the company so that I can kind of beat them in the future, like why they're expired, how long they were on the market, what the comps were on that house compared to the other houses.
Absolutely. That's also a great way. Going back to the expired listing campaigns and checking what they did that didn't get the home sold is obviously important. It helps you get in. Kay had a great concept too as well prior with expireds, is to go back to that agents and call them and say, look, if I have a buyer that's interested in that property, do you still have direct contact with that listing client? Because hey, it's a win-win for everybody. The other thing that you guys also want to take in consideration here, guys, is no matter what you add to your presentation, it's going to be of value. Remember that. If you dive in and you really focus on adding items of value, it's going to be for your benefit. Right? Liz was here, I think yesterday was yesterday. Liz saw the bottle that we're going to be handing out in the future for recruits, right? And it has, guess what? We did some little labels. We pasted, we tape or glue, not tape it. We put, yeah, bring it. She's going to bring it right now. But it has a little barcode or QR code, not barcode. I gotta remember the QR code. It's a QR code. You snap a pic of it, it links you directly to our recruiting video. Think about plants. Vanessa brought up plants. Imagine having your own QR code with your information. You're delivering that bottle the day before your listing presentation. And guess what? You stand out. You remind, hey, listen, I know this is going to be a stressful situation or a stressful environment. Allow me to relax, put you at ease. Cheers. Right? Again, self-branding, creativity. This is one, for example. Right? Make the change to RE/MAX Go. Let's have a glass of wine and watch the video of why you should join our RE/MAX Go family. And then I know it's so far away. Can you get it close? It has a QR code on there. We're going to get it close to you here. Little things like that. Doesn't cost much at all, guys. Worth the investment. It's worth to definitely stand out. I want to know top 3 things you guys are going to do from this day forward to better your listing campaign. And I'm going to go down the line. I'll start from top to bottom or bottom to top, whichever you guys prefer. 3 things. 3 things. Start thinking. Joe, you first.
I'm not active yet, but I'm working on a social media campaign right now with my daughter.
Beautiful.
So she's a journalism major, and she's coming up with a strategic plan for me for social media campaigning. So I'm going to incorporate that with some videos. I'm going to start marketing myself as a person who works on homes, not as a business, but just someone who can give you like house hacks. And I'm going to create videos to that, and then that is going to be part of my campaign. So that doesn't directly answer your question, but
No, but you know what, Joe?
It's
you're definitely on the right path, Joe. It's okay. I like it. I like it. It's all video branding, brand awareness. You're on it, man. You're on it. Right? So no, that's good. Diana, 3 things.
Well, I'm going to start valuing my worth for one thing, but
Okay.
and I am going to research agents that are, see what other agents are doing on expired listings and stuff like that. And also, I'm going to always brag about our team in our office because we have a good one.
Great. Add them to your marketing plan. Take some bios, pictures. Okay. Top 3 things you're going to do.
I don't know. No, one of the things I've been updating my presentation, and one of the things I actually was going to ask is if we could get, Amanda's so great at making things look pretty with these presentations and stuff. And I didn't know if we had like a cross-reference list that we could put, not necessarily with everybody's phone numbers and stuff, but a list for our partners that we can kind of, throw out, excuse me, in our listing presentation. Because I do the same thing with mine, where I'm always promoting, our company, our agents, our admins, everybody that we work with, and, and our partners would be a great thing to be able to, segue into on that too. So presentation is a big thing for me. My social media presence, I really have to work on too, just so that I can have a good place to direct people ahead of time and make sure that I have, my game in order so that, when I throw them out there, they're looking at something that, something of value. And
I'm gonna challenge you here, Kate. One thing because you talked about your social media platform, you especially, because you did a live or a video post a while back. I know you remember it. Frank was holding the phone and you were putting up a sign. But how much engagement did you get off that post?
it was a lot. I mean, it was hundreds. Yeah.
Now here's the question I'm gonna ask. When have you done that again?
It's been a while.
Right. I challenge you in this particular scenario, and I know you have your 3 components, but I challenge you to do something before the end of next week. Another video post, something, because you got so much engagement. And if you can do one, at least once a week to start to get your confidence built, you'll be more comfortable and more apt to do it. Because that's what you want. You want engagement. You don't want just the likes. Remember that. But go ahead, finish your theory.
And videos. That's what I'm going to do.
Perfect, okay? Thanks. I wonder how you figured that one out.
Well, I had 2 out of 3.
I love it. Steve, what about you, sir? 3 things.
Oh, there's so much I need to do. Well, basically the social media, I'm not a big fan of that. A lot more handwritten notes and kind of connecting with people on that level. Better at phone calls. I do a lot of phone calls, but just, call people on their birthday. And, I always call and just see, what's going on, just touching base. And, you can always gear up your listing presentation. It's always kind of ready to go and just adding things, taking things out and things like that. But, there's always room for growth for anything.
Steve, where are you on social media? Are you active in all social media outlets, or what are you missing? You have Facebook?
I just don't really do the posts.
You have Facebook, right? You have Facebook.
I got Facebook and, I don't, Snapchat, but I don't get on that stuff.
What about Instagram?
I don't do Instagram. I could probably start doing Instagram. Don't know too much about it.
Here's my challenge to you, Steve. By next week, I'd like for you to create your Instagram profile get on Instagram. We're not gonna get so complicated or I'll throw you under the bricks here. Get an Instagram and get a Twitter. You already have Snapchat, you already have
Yeah, I
Facebook.
got Twitter.
Okay, so good, you got Twitter. Set up your Instagram. And I want you to use your Instagram as your review page, who you are, but also talk to some of those previous clients and see if they would give you a review. Because Amanda does a phenomenal job of making those reviews look really sharp with the marketing behind it and all that. And you're gonna start using that as your marketing review page. You'll be able to
Gotcha.
put some stuff, personal stuff. You'll be able to put some regular pictures because I want you to make it more familial as well instead of just business. But I want you to get that done next week. Here's why. I need you to get confidence on the technology side, the branding side. You can do that. You're already walking a mile a minute, my man. You're doing great, but you can get you to 20 miles a minute. I love it. Does that make sense?
Steve, I can help if you want help.
There you go. Liz has volunteered. That's awesome. What'd you say, Brent?
I was gonna
Yeah, I
say, one thing about reaching out, talking about getting testimonials and reviews. Sometimes if you add an item of value, which I think the real estate review is kind of like killing two birds with one stone, giving them a real estate review, and after going through that with them, asking if they'd be nice enough to give you a review, you got that kind of ebb and flow thing that it's not just asking them for a review, but you've given them something that they like.
So Steve, I challenge you to open up your Instagram, exactly what Brent said. But when you open it, I want you to immediately start finding everybody, all your peers, right? Me, Brent, anybody who has Instagram in our group, which I'm hoping everybody does now, to go ahead and add you and request them as friends so we can immediately add you. Okay? Cool.
Gotcha. All right. I'm looking for
Larry
it now.
McNamara, 3 things. I'm sorry, Steve.
I'm looking for it now. I thought I had an account, but you know, like with
Just start a new
Facebook.
one. It's okay. And make sure you make it a business one, right? We talked about it
that's-
yesterday.
Exactly.
business
Everybody's
one.
like, oh, let's do a Facebook account. And, you know, I consider Facebook, I mean, I do a little business on there, but I don't load it up with the
Well,
business.
we're gonna
because
get you
people see
confident
that.
enough and experienced enough to dabble in both and just like a prerequisite of work, right? Like you gotta punch in the clock. It's just part of your job. If you don't like it, I get it. A lot of people do sometimes in work, they do things that they don't like. But if you just get habitual with it, you just make it part of your process, do it and get it out there. Because again, this is the future of our industry, guys. It really is.
Absolutely.
Larry, 3 things, sir.
Well, one, I really liked the idea yesterday with the door hangers.
That's a great idea.
I
Absolutely.
thought that was really good, especially being in a city area because the houses are so close together. You don't have to walk 2 miles to get to the next house.
Mhm.
The other thing I really need to do is get comfortable with doing videos. I'm very uncomfortable with that.
You got the voice for it, Larry.
He does.
Well, that's from 2 packs a day. But
All right,
you know,
you have one
the
more?
thing that I see with that is it's just the wave of things to come. I listened to what Kay had to say earlier, and I just need to do that and get it on social media. I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I'm not great with social media. That's the only one I'm on.
Mm. Well, guess what, Larry, we're gonna change that. We have an action plan for you too, sir.
Okay.
Make sure you update all your social media outlets, because I know you have Facebook. If you don't have Instagram, let's jump on Instagram. But here's the other action item for you before the end of the month, okay?
Yeah.
Throw a little 10-second video out there. It doesn't have to be about work related. It can be anything, but let's just see it in your social media outlets, okay?
Okay.
It doesn't take, once you start building the confidence and become natural and make it a habit, it's like nothing, right? You get out, hey, how you doing? Just want to check it out. Let you know the weather's good over here. Oh, look how crazy. I just passed by the pretzel place, right? Whatever. Just something to get out, to get that ability started, right? Let's get it started,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Let's get it by the end of the month. That's next week, okay?
Sounds good.
Liz, you're on deck. 3 things, lady. Hello,
Sorry, it
Liz.
took me a second to unmute.
That's all right.
So I have a lot of social media, and that's something that I am really working on and I continue to work on, but I really want to ramp up my value proposition. I think I get in a spot where, you know, the rebuttal is sometimes, you know, when you get that objection, sort of handling that. So I'm going to work on sort of that value proposition is my main one. I really want to get everything into my CRM. So I'm hoping that will be something that will automate some of the stuff that I'm doing. And then lastly, I'm not big, believe it or not, despite doing all the social media I do not like video, but I really would like to do some fun videos. So I'm going to try to start thinking of some ideas for that.
Excellent, Liz. Action item for yourself. By hopefully the end of next week, if you can coordinate a time with myself and Kristen, we'd love to hear what your value proposition is. Okay, let's define it. Let's get it prepped. Let's get it 100% confident. And that way we can balance off of each other on that. But I love to hear your value proposition. Okay.
I would
Liz,
love
we're
it.
gonna go over
Thanks.
that too on the business planning.
Did you hear,
Perfect.
Brent? Cool. So hopefully by next week, let's schedule that no later than that. Okay. Vanessa, you're on deck, man. 3 items that you're going to do from this day forward to better your real estate business.
Okay, well, I'm new, so I have a ton of items, but what I'm working on right now is social media. I get a lot of posts from whenever I started real estate on Facebook, but I didn't have Instagram. So I did download Instagram yesterday, and I'm working on that. Working on my neighborhood. I joined my neighborhood Facebook page and like try to respond to anything and everything they ask to try and help. And then I want to do some door hanging as well. But I am an RVT in veterinary. So I will be doing more stuff with my pet to try and target the pet owners because I get a lot of people that ask me pet questions.
That's Vanessa, that's a great mix. Brent actually just stated the same thing, or he said it before I did, but great direction there, Vanessa. Your action item, in my opinion, honestly, is start building your marketing campaign and have it physically either on digital or on paper. Start putting those all in order, okay? And I'll be more than happy to meet with you as well, Vanessa, next week at your availability, because we would love to sit down and just really construct that or give you bullet points or a sounding board on how you can get that ready to go as soon as possible, okay?
Thanks.
By the way, Steve Hall has already requested me on Instagram. I love this guy. I got it back immediately. That's awesome. Way to go, Steve-O. You're muted yourself, Steve. You muted yourself. Carol, Miss Carol, the fearless Carol. I love Carol's opinions. 3 things, lady.
Carol, huh?
What are you thinking?
I've gotten a little lazy with all of this COVID stuff, obviously. So it's very comfortable for me to be in my house with Frank cooking food for me. And obviously the dairy is showing the effects of all of that. So I need to get back out and socialize. It's one of my high points. I do have Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, business, the whole bit. I need to become more proficient on Facebook, on Instagram. Liz Bruce got me into Clubhouse, so I've started playing around with that. Felt totally inept about that. And I know that Brett's going to be a jerk and say that I need to do video and try to make me do that. And I'll try. I will
She
try.
did do it once and did a good job.
She did a phenomenal job. But here, Carol, because of your position and your experience, and the fact that I feel personally that I know you have your bootstrap to the industry, you know what you're doing, but I always add a little caveat. And because you are really starting to break and drench yourself in social media, because she's very, pretty consistent for the most part. Like you said yourself, you kind of give it or go. It doesn't really come consistent, but in my eyes, you're getting there. But here's what I asked her. Your action item is Carol, is I want you to look and download some applications. One could be Hootsuite, so that literally it can make your job, and this is for everybody, but for Carol's perspective, it would make herself much more of an efficient real estate professional if she has this application where she downloads, and it really, anything she writes in there, it goes to all her social media outlets. It's not just one. So she doesn't have to go to each one to do this. And this goes for all of you guys. Look at researching some applications. There's tons of them, but Hootsuite's the one we use. But go out there, check it out, and see if that's a benefit for you, which I will tell you it is, because it streamlines your social media. You can plan months out on that, and it automatically does it for you.
Buffer.com is another one. BUFFE, buffer.com. I put it in the chat. It's a good one. I use it to schedule out social media as well.
Beautiful. I love it, Liz. What'd you say?
Amanda knows Hootsuite, so she could help.
Oh, Kristen just reminded me, Amanda is aware of how to use Hootsuite, guys, on our team. So if you guys have any questions on Hootsuite or in Liz's perspective with her software, her application, feel free to let us know. I know Liz is very approachable. She's awesome. And so is Amanda. So if you guys want to get more educated on that stuff, feel free. But that's kind of like an all around basis for everybody. When you have your social media lined up, Hootsuite's the way to go. Okay? Listen, it's 11 a.m. I want to get you guys within the hour. I've succeeded to get us in a timely manner. Do you guys have any last minute questions? If not, we will resume next month. I hope that we can catch up next week with your action plans. I want to hear them. Send me text, send me videos, send me emails. How about a text video? I love to see your guys' faces on a text video. Let me know where you guys are at. I want to see you guys get this knocked out by next week. Get you some starting points. No questions? Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll touch base again next month. Take care. We'll hear from you guys next week.